It really would kind of be a hard thing to do,
Hmm.
because a dog is a sentient being. It does have its own ability to act. It's not like a gun or a knife where obviously a gun sitting on a table cannot hurt you at all. Somebody actually has to use it. Dog is not like that. A dog sort of recognizes that it does possess its own ability to judge things.
We are Arms Attorneys. Today we are actually doing an entire episode based upon one of your questions you submitted over at armedattorneys.com, which is, what happens if your dog was defending you? What happens if your dog bites a trespasser? What happens if your dog is a self-defense weapon? So this is going to be a great discussion, particularly for our Texas residents. Stick around, head on over to armedattorneys.com to check out our brand new self-defense legal protection program. And Edwin Walker,
Hello.
you are a Mac at dog bites.
Well, it's just something that I sort of had fallen into. I love dogs, so I love all animals really. Hate insects, love dogs, and I always have. The first movie that ever affected me emotionally, that I was actually emotionally tied to, was the movie Where the Red Fern Grows, and so I've been a dog guy ever since. So it always pains me, of course, whenever you see the videos of people, particularly police and ATF agents shooting dogs and things like that. It's just terrible. So, but there is a lot of liability that does come with having a dog, or having your dog attack somebody, bite somebody, and so that's what we're going to go over today.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good reminder. So, what happens if you, first of all, I'll say, can you be charged criminally for the actions of your dog?
Well, only in a context of if you were criminally negligent. And I suppose in a self-defense situation, if you were to kind of, I guess, say that they wanted to use the dog as a weapon, it really would kind of be a hard thing to do,
Hmm.
because a dog is a sentient being. It does have its own ability to act. It's not like a gun or a knife where obviously a gun sitting on a table cannot hurt you at all. Somebody actually has to use it. Dog is not like that. A dog sort of recognizes that it does possess its own ability to judge things.
Yeah, I suppose if you, first of all, it would have to be not good self-defense, but so it's unreasonable and your dog is obviously very highly trained and you give the command and the dog attacks.
Sure.
Okay, they'll try, but again, it's not like just using your own deadly weapon. It is a, once the dog attacks, you can't control how much force the dog uses. I don't know how they get the mens rea on that, but
Right. And with regard to the civil liability for a dog bite,
that's what we're really
yes,
talking about today.
there are lots of dog. In fact, there are actually plaintiffs lawyers out there who market themselves as dog bite specialists.
I know, I've got it, Samir. I'm gonna send you this clip. You've got to throw it up here. This is one of my favorites.
Well, I'll do my best, guys, but I can't make any promises. DUIs are tough.
Will they take away my driver's license?
I do not know. Look, to be honest, I'm kind of a Mac when it comes to dog bites. When an officer pulled you over, did you get bit by a dog?
No.
Crap.
See, some people are max at dog bites. Some people, it's just their thing.
So, but there, and so again, we're going to mention some Texas laws, because obviously that's how here we are. Some states have a few different laws. The common law is generally with regard to dog bites. That if you know that your dog is a biter, sort of the one free bite rule that some people may have heard of, Texas actually follows the one free bite rule. So unless if you've got just a regular old dog, the dog biting somebody puts you on notice that it could bite people. Just because it has teeth, you're not sort of given the general knowledge that your dog could bite. Well, he's got teeth, doesn't he? So yeah, he could bite.
Same could
No.
be said for any of us.
Sure. Yeah, I find that most children are biters.
Yes, I know. I have three of them. And
Somebody's
yes.
children are biters.
Ah.
But if you've just got a regular old dog, a Heinz 57, you have to be put on notice that your dog could be aggressive. And Texas has even gone so far as to define what a dangerous dog is.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you what those are real fast, just so you know.
Sure.
I think it's important. All right, this is the definition of dangerous dog in Texas. So, this is a dog that makes an unprovoked attack on a person that causes bodily injury and occurs in a place other than an enclosure in which the dog was being kept and that was reasonably certain to prevent the dog from leaving the enclosure on its own, or commits an unprovoked attack in a place other than an enclosure in which the dog was being kept and that was reasonably certain to prevent the dog from leaving the enclosure on its own, and those acts cause a person to reasonably believe the dog will attack and cause bodily injury to that person. I think that's something to comment upon here first off, which is that if your dog is enclosed in your yard, because this was the nature of the question we got, and someone opens your gate and gets attacked by your dogs, I mean, are you responsible for that?
Right. And so Texas
Probably not.
Texas has done a really good job in crafting this definition in that there are two qualifications. Is that your dog is not a dangerous dog if it is provoked. Okay, so it has to be an unprovoked attack. So provoke, if you can establish that your dog was provoked into doing it, for example, somebody being a criminal and attacking you or entering your property as a trespasser, then your dog's not dangerous. Or if your dog is still in its enclosure, in which a fenced-in yard is still considered an enclosure. Now, whenever we talk about the potential of a owner's liability, we're looking at being negligent in maintaining the enclosure. Do you have wooden pickets that are broken? Has the dog dug under the fence? Is there places where the dog is? So allowing the dog to escape, that could open you up to some sort of liability. And then another area of liability is if you have a known dangerous breed of dog, and which there are some really wild breeds out there. Now, of course, traditionally people think of pit bulls and Dobermans and German Shepherds, but there are some really interesting breeds out there. Of course, most people are familiar with the Belgian Malinois, but Turkish Kangol. Have you ever heard of a Turkish Kangol?
No.
I would not want to meet a Turkish Kangol. I mean, I know to me, there's sort of a presumption that all dogs are sweet pups, but Turkish Kangols, wolf hybrids. A lot of people are getting wolf hybrids. A Prisa Canario. That's also another foreign dog that's really aggressive. The Cane Corso and the Albe. I have to admit, I was not really familiar with the Albe. It comes from Asia. And it looks like it could just sit on you and you would perish immediately. So if you have a dangerous breed, you're kind of put on notice, but those are really, you sort of know what you have. Now, that doesn't say that you can't have them, that you can't use them for protection of you and your family, can't use them to protect your property, because like I said, if it's in its enclosure, if it's in the act of responding to provocative action, then you're going to be okay. Now, the one thing I will kind of say, that Texas, like many states, has a specific statute, and this is present in the common law for every state, that you're not allowed to use devices to protect property. Specific to the protection of property, you can't use devices such
Trap
as
guns, spring guns, things of that nature. There was some guy who had some sort of explosive device recently that he unleashed on a solicitor. I don't know.
a solicitor being a salesman, not a British lawyer.
Correct.
Okay. Yes.
Correct. Be nice to the lawyers. No, but yes, I can't remember I think we showed it on the channel now that I'm thinking of it. But anyway, yes. No devices.
Yeah, which I mean, look, I've always questioned this. Whenever I first learned about it in law school, I was like, why can't you use a spring gun? And of course, the very liberal tort professor was because, oh, well, a spring gun has no mind. It could harm anybody. It could harm a defenseless child that just happens to wander up on your front porch. It could harm a fireman who's breaking the door down to actually save you. And I was like, yeah, the chances of that happening, very, very small. But nonetheless, spring guns are statutorily prohibited under Texas law, cannot protect your property with a spring gun. So
I did not know you were such an ardent advocate of spring guns.
well, I just think that it's my hatred of thieves.
Sure enough. All right, go on.
That's what it is. So it's not so much my appreciation of spring guns, it's my hatred of thieves that causes this passion in me. So it kind of occurred to me, what if you had a dog that was specifically trained, because obviously most guard dogs, it's their presence as a deterrent. That's what they're good for, is that whenever you go up to somebody's fence, the dog is immediately going to come run out, cause a scene,
Sure.
bark, look vicious with the drool and everything else, and you're going to go, hey, I don't want to go there. But what if you had a dog that was specifically trained to sit there and watch and hide and wait for somebody to jump over your fence and wait for somebody to come into your yard? And then whenever it got close enough where it could not, or this person could not possibly successfully escape from your backyard, that's when the dog springs into action. What
Yeah.
about that?
Well, I would say if you have done that, don't tell anyone you've done that.
Certainly, and do not make a YouTube video about it.
No. But yeah, I mean, could a dog become a trap?
A trap dog.
A trap dog?
I mean, it's great to think
Yeah.
about.
An interesting legal theory. Novel. We'll see about it.
And in the event that the prosecutors wanted to go after you, in the event that the trespasser wanted to go after you, they would have to have a lot of information
They
in
would.
addition to just the thing that happens, because obviously the trespasser was provocative. Obviously the dog was still in closure. So I think you get the benefit of all that. Like I said, they would really have to dig up a YouTube video where you go, hey folks, let me
is how
tell you
you do
about
this.
this. Let me tell you about this great thing I thought of.
Yeah.
This here is Max. And I have specifically trained Max to only attack trespassers when they are inside my fence and have no possibility of escaping. So
Goodness.
hopefully nobody will do that.
Don't do that. So let's summarize here, because this has been a long and winding conversation, as many Edwin Walker conversations are. But you have your dog. It's used in self-defense or to defend your property. If it is provoked, if it is protecting you, no worries. It would be a tough legal battle for them to charge you for the criminal acts of your dog. And then someone breaks onto your property. I think that you should be, in answer to your question, Ted, you should not have anything to worry about. That doesn't mean you won't get sued. Plaintiffs' lawyers will take virtually any case, especially when there's insurance involved, and you will have homeowners insurance or renter's insurance. And so there is a potential pot of gold at the end of that plaintiff's attorney rainbow. But, you're pretty protected here in Texas. That's our example here. Your mileage may vary in your state if you're watching this outside of Texas, but we're not even going to talk about dog bites out in public. This is really sort of the crux of your defensive dog uses. So, go out and, give some love to your pups. You should be just fine. But we hope you enjoyed this discussion. If you did, consider subscribing, hitting the like button. And Texans, do you like having your legal questions answered by an attorney on demand? Well, head on over to armedattorneys.com. Become a member of our self-defense legal protection plan, because one of the benefits is access to us for non-emergency legal questions, and we would love to talk to you. We love this stuff. Use promo code FOUNDER. We're going to keep it open for a little while longer. And until next time, we're the Arms Attorneys.